Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. I am Lilly, and in this video I'm going to explain the changes and some of the features that came with the Animal Husbandry patch. With the release date sprinting towards us, this update is the last iteration before release from the roadmap step, Jobs. The next two will be raiding and trading. The star of this patch is Animal Husbandry and everything that follows this roadmap step. Among other things, we're getting livestock animals and plenty new stuff to build. Without any further ado, let's get started. Starting directly with Animal Husbandry. With Neolithic farming, we also got animal domestication coming from the Near East to Atlantic Europe. By 4K BC, most of Atlantic Europe had both cows and goats that gave us milk and of course therefore also cheese. We also did have pigs raised for their meat. The pigs were descendants from the wild boars, while the goats came from the Persian ibex. Cows were direct descendants of aurochs that roamed the grasslands of Europe up until the early 17th century. With Animal Husbandry, we also get a new work group, the herders. Your herders will take care of your livestock. They will be milking the animals every day, and when they turn old, they will slaughter them for their meat. You will be able to see all the tasks in the herder group when going to their panel. With this, we also have new buildings accompanying Animal Husbandry. The dairy station is where your tribe will make cheese from milk, and we also have the feeders for the livestock. We got hay feeders and also the normal feeder troughs that can take most foods that your livestock will eat. So let the livestock snack on your surplus food rather than having it go to waste. Our cows and goats will need milking every day, and the tribe can either consume the milk or build a dairy station to create cheese. You will need to assign enough workers to the herder group so they can reach all animals that needs milking, and you only have one day before the milk is lost for that day. You will then have to wait till the next day before you can get more milk. You will need to feed your pigs all year round, while the goats and the cows will graze in nature until the grass turns yellow. This normally happens at winter times. You will find an icon on Tribe State where you can see when you will need to stock your hay feeders and feeding troughs. If your animals cannot find any food in the feeders, they will go look for any food you might have laying out in the open. If there is no food available, your animal will die from starvation, so make sure you always stock up on plenty straw for the winter. Your livestock will also have fitness traits, so you can quickly see if they are indeed healthy or starving. Livestock will come with migrants, and for every new animal that arrives, you will have to assign it to a herder group. If you do not, then the milk will always be lost, as only herders can milk the animals, and the animals will instead live their lives in the wild and eventually die from old age. A small tip, make sure to fence in all your feeders, or the wild herbivores will be paying you a visit and eat from your feeders. Your livestock is part of your tribe, and hence the gates you put up will allow them access, but not the wild animals. Your livestock will also politely avoid all your farmlands. Quickly moving on, we have more objects we can build. The lumber mill is where your tribe can cut lumber into wooden planks. These planks are used for a few new and also a few older objects. One of the new objects is the clay container. The clay container is a new and very high-end decay reduction storage option. You can fill it with the same food types as you do with your pits. The clay container has a 500% decay reduction from open storage and is now a best storage option. It does, however, only take 100 kilos, and for high volume foods such as crops, you will need quite a few of these if you plan to use it for your crops. Luckily, the materials needed for this are very numerous in all localities, so you'll have no issues getting the mud or the planks for these containers. The longhouse is also now needing planks, which means less raw lumber is required to build it. Next up, we have 9 new rivers. We have many of them located in Spain that normally have very few rivers, so now we can easily go inland and find a river where we settle. Another new object added to the game are the posts. These are Mesolithic religious structures, only allowed with Mesolithic influence in the tribe. It grants increased speed on appeasement if placed close to offerings or temples. The speed increase is not very high, but we can place several posts to get better effect. With the new buildings, we are also getting a new way to place our structures. This goes for the men here as well as the posts. We simply click once and then move our mouse cursor out as far as we see fit. The blueprints will follow our movement, and we can see how it will be built before we click to place it down. In addition to our domestic animals, we have also gotten more wild animals. The auroch has been added to the game along with the rat. Both can be hunted and stripped for meat, bones and leather. The rats will not give leather, however, and they will only give a very small snack, just like the hares. The rats will also try to find a way into your food storages, and they can get into your facility as soon as they need repairs. So be vigilant in keeping enough materials for repairs in the camp to avoid this. Moving on, this time to the new tools. We have been given a bone knife, which can both cut and crop. This is an ideal tool for stripping animals, and it only needs one bone to be crafted. In addition to milk and cheese, we now also have pine nuts from pine trees. These trees can be found fairly south in Europe. The nuts are very nutritious, but not very popular among your tribesmen. You can, however, feed the nuts to your livestock. Next up, we have been given an artistic tool, the brush. When activating it, we can, for example, place down forms and play around with creating shapes as we see fit. So let loose your inner artist and start making crop art. Another feature we've got in this patch is the colored icons on all objects. They look just like they do when we have built the objects in the camp. Last but not least, we have a new and improved tutorial system. It is a guided tutorial for especially new players. When you start a new game, you can choose to have the guided tutorial on or off. When you click it off, you will not get the tutorial popping up. When you enter the game with the tutorial activated, you will find yourself unable to do anything but opening the tutorial. You need only open it before you can again take control of your tribe, but I recommend all new players to go through the entire tutorial. You will get more help after you have picked a place to settle down, and when you land, you will be prompted to follow the next step of the tutorial. They are basically only the fundamental ways to gather materials, and they will surely help the new players. That concludes this video about the changes and some of the features of patch 0.2.13.0 Animal Husbandry. Oh gosh, that was such a mouthful. We only have 2 more left to go before the official release. We have already had huge changes prior to this patch added via several hotfixes to the game, where we first of all got different difficulties and then also different game speeds, so surely all types of players should now have their preferences well covered. Please continue to provide feedback to the developers on their forums and or their Discord. I shall see you again for the playthrough of this patch, and of course also for the upcoming new updates with a Patch Explained edition. Until then, have fun and take care.